This conference will now be recorded.
All right, so today is Wednesday, June 24th, and as always, everything that we're going to be talking about today is for educational purposes only, and and nothing is intended as any type of investment advice. All right, so unfortunately, I'm trying to talk, but I'm watching this at the same time. So what I want to do is I'm going to go over CTIB and the trade that just happened for you guys, because I know some of you just had some questions, and then we'll get into the rest of our list. So the first thing that we have to realize is down right about this 460 level, it's not going to let me go all the way back, but we had some really good prints that came in, really nice off-level ask prints that came in and kind of pushed this thing up towards that 5 level. Then when Doug said that, it makes sense here. So the thing is that if they hit 5 really hard, then what's going to end up happening is it's going to have to go into a building phase, and it's going to stop that money from being able to be made, okay? Because it's going to go, from a trading point into a building point. Now, one thing to think about is that if this would have been the 4 level, this probably wouldn't even have happened as drastically as it did. But 5, we know that there's going to be more volume there, so they're going to play some type of games. It's very rare that you're ever going to see a stock just go and blast past 5 and continue on its way. So then as we came back down, we started to see some more buying coming down towards that 480 level, and then we came back and we pushed back towards the prints that we had at that 490. So one thing that you have to notice is as we came back down into the staircase, we saw a bunch of bid prints that came in at 5. Okay, one thing you want to look at is if you go over here on the daily chart, it's went from $2.36 up to 5, which is a gigantic move for a cheaper stock. So essentially what that means is that we know that somebody's getting out, but that's not the important part because we know they've been in for how long now. Look at this consolidation. Look at how long that they've been building. You're talking about over a week of trading that they've been building for there to pop this thing back up. So we know there's going to be a lot of, a lot of large positions within the stock. So what happened is that we have to expect a pull up from those bids that came at the 5. And then after that, those bids came in. If you look at the buying that started to happen. Okay, we started getting some really nice buying coming in towards those highs at the 530, at 535. So what that's telling us is that these people are essentially, they're continuously putting in that new buying for us to be able to go back up. The real start of this was those ask prints that came in around that 460, and then the prints that came in underneath that 5 where they needed to make their money. And then from there being pulled up, we need to look, do we have new buying? Because remember, selling is not as important, especially what looks like a lot of selling, because there was, maybe like 10 or so prints that came in on 5 level on that bid side. But just look at it compared to the volume that's already being traded this morning and compared to the building that's already been happening. We have to understand that's not a lot. So the pull up coming up, we have to look for that new buying, and that new buying is what told us that we're going to be able to push up towards that 550 level. Now we come back over here and we start to look. Now buying is getting a little bit weaker, but if based off of what's been pushing this stock, it's only been taking maybe 5 to 8 prints to really get this thing going. So unfortunately right now at that 550, I don't see enough here to tell us that we're not going to pull back underneath the 5. But it really what it comes down to is just that new buying. Do not get scared of that selling that comes in, because there's huge amounts of volume that's been going into this, and there's gigantic positions that are basically telling us that if we continue to get that new buying, we're going to be able to see it push. Okay, but at this point, like I said, 550, we should be seeing a little bit more there. But unfortunately, if they print too much at 550, now it goes back into a building phase and it stops the stock from being in that trading phase. So overall, it really was kind of clear what we saw. Okay, don't be afraid of selling that comes into this. Make sure that you're paying attention to the new buying, especially when you get a catalyst like that, because that selling that came into the 5 level essentially was just a catalyst to push it back up. And as long as when it's coming back up, we get that new buying, it tells us that we're going to be able to continue on our way. All right, now we're starting to get, like I said, towards that 550. See this new buying that's coming in? That's giving us an indication that we still do have more room towards that upside. Okay, and now these 550 prints are also telling us that they're going to look to build above there. Remember, the 5 level is not one of the best levels for us to be trading around. Okay, there are going to be games, but as long as you read the prints the right way and you pay attention to exactly what's happening, it really has been a very clear trade this morning. So obviously CTIB is going to be on our list. Next thing looking at is INO. So INO, we know we were talking about it yesterday. We know we went over all of our volume patterns, and we knew we needed to make a nice break. We knew we needed to get over 1 million shares in volume, which we saw that after we were done with our traders exchange. And we're continuing on our way. But the thing with this is make sure that you're getting a good show of hand, because as of right now, its print personality is very kind of scattered. All right, well, we're sitting in a consolidation, so that's not anything crazy, but even in a consolidation, we want to see something that's just completely blatantly obvious. And we're starting to continue to get that new buying. Remember, these, it's definitely going to be a lot thinner because the stock is going to have a bigger range today. So these, bursts of three that we see coming into it, these tell us a whole lot. Now, would I call them a show of hand? Absolutely not. But at the same time, it's definitely going to make a big effect on the stock. So as long as we continue to get that new buying as we come towards the highs of this consolidation, we should really be able to see this thing make a nice breakout. Now, you could go out there and try to get shares. I know a lot of people aren't going to be able to, unfortunately, because we will get moved towards the downside and towards the upside. But overall, definitely love the new buying as we're coming up towards those highs. Next thing looking at is TMUS. So this is an interesting one because as almost the entire time we've been coming down, and it's, as we came into 9, we're starting to see a little bit different. But before we came into the 9, basically, let's call it 850, everything that I saw on its way down was actually buying, but I can't take it as buying because it started with such a pretty trend and it was all happening pretty much on that downtrend. So I'm really taking that as covering. So covering once again, because of the fact that this is a huge move that's happening, I have to assume there's, some pretty decent positions coming from those highs and even being built up as the stock was continuing towards that upside and towards those highs. So really what I'm looking for now in a downtrend like this is new selling. And we can see 105.50, beautiful new selling. 105 and not beautiful, but it's pretty decent. Then we come down to our 104.53. I love this position right here because once again, it's bigger than what the print personality is, and that is a very ballsy position. Now, unfortunately, it already did kind of break down towards this 104 print line. We have 55,000 shares that are sitting there, but really at the end of the day, all that buying that was up here, come based off of this print line and based off the selling that we have, we're going to need to see a pretty substantial pull up that comes into this. Now, I'm going to be looking at 105. I'm never going to set my price target higher than that because 105 is going to give us some type of either longer term or short term prints to tell us what's going to happen right now. But based off of that selling, like I said, that we have coming in all the way down here at that 105.50 that really did not pull up from, I'm going to be expecting a rather large pull up off of this 104 level, especially 105 being such a hard level to be able to just break past and then just continue on its way. Next thing looking at is Plug, P-L-U-G. So Plug is another one that we were talking about yesterday. We saw the building, even though, as it started to come back down, there was so many prints that it needed to come back up from. So when we look at this right now, it's not that great in the fact that it is getting, the volume is a little bit sporadic. And the prints, just as we came up to that 7 the first time, there was absolutely nothing there. And, granted, at the same time, it was, very early in the morning. It was before 8 o'clock, which you typically don't see a real great show of hands before 8 o'clock. But also, I haven't seen anything that's, some good buying. If we come back over here, that 710 area, there's some really big prints that show us that the stock needs to be able to continue on its way. But I do want to see more. Remember, if we want to get to this double top, we want to see buying to tell us that it's going to go to 8, and I just do not see that yet. So we're going to need to see a little bit more coming in. But overall, we know that they were building yesterday, and it certainly shows us that it has a lot of room. Okay, next thing is IPDN. So IPDN, I liked it a lot better before it kind of just turned over as we came in. Now, yes, it was an IPO, so there's not really much information for us to be able to do really kind of anything with. So we're going to need some real type of great building or real great show of hand that shows us, and it just doesn't have it yet. But the volume overall is absolutely phenomenal. Cheaper stock that made a bigger move. So it's something that we're going to keep on our side list, but we need to see more. There's nothing here that definitively tells us that, once the market opens, that we're going to be able to see this thing make any type of a real move. Now, IBO is towards the bottom of my side list. The reason being, it's just that it's very quanty. And one of the things is the personality that shows right this second. For me to think that once the market opens, it's just going to completely change its personality is kind of crazy because that's not how we do things here. But overall, I do see a lot of buying that's came in, and the money flow is definitely showing more buying during this consolidation than it is selling. But once again, does that mean that once the market opens, we're going to pop 10 cents and it's going to die out? Very possible. So that's why I'm going to be keeping this towards the bottom of our side list. And other than that, that pretty much looks like it. Now, yes, HTZ, I did just see in the chat. Yeah, so it made a real nice move coming back up, but you can see how it just went completely quanty afterwards. Definitely something to keep on our side list and keep an eye out for, but definitely not something that I'm going to be, my main focus as we go into our morning. So let's see if do we have any. These are some big prints that are coming in right now. You can see the volume is absolutely phenomenal. Let's see what we got. Anything that stands out? Anything that stands out? A little bit mixed. I would like to see something a little bit better. I mean, like for instance, this stands out big time. This 132 that came in. So right before this thing kind of made its move, you can see this is a gigantic position that came in with really no selling involved. And we just don't really see anything like that yet. So that's what I'm going to be looking for. That's one thing that I always do in the pre-market. And so, a little tip for you guys that we should have, we should definitely pay attention to is go back. When you see a stock make a beautiful move, go back and look what the prints looked like right before it happened. Because then that gives you an idea of what you're going to be looking for the next time that it's going to happen. And then APT, let's take a look. Yes, beautiful. Okay, yeah, they're doing absolutely nothing yet, but definitely 18 had some absolutely phenomenal buying yesterday, even a little bit over, I believe, after we kind of made that move back from after it made that nice pullback from underneath. So definitely something to keep on your list as well. All right, guys, anything else out there that I missed? Anything else out there that I missed? As CTIB pushes to 6. Interesting. All right, guys, so let's get ready for our morning. Let's remember what we talked about yesterday in Traders Exchange. Let's really focus on the patterns of our trading, okay? What we do well, what we're not doing well. Obviously, we still need to focus on what we're doing well, but if you focus more on the things that you're not doing well that are going to drastically change your trading, you're going to see your trading drastically change. All right, guys, I'll talk to everybody in the chat, and happy trading.